It's the morning star drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the morning star drive, you know.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Friday, August 27th, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So what is going on today on this fabulous Friday? We got some coronavirus updates, current news from around the world, word study with the Wednesday message, and then a new segment of Victory Rhymes with Youngse. All right, guys, how are you doing today? Yes, and I know it's a little bit noisy in my background because I am recording in the Dubai International Airport. There are tons of people around me. There's music in the background. I'm in a cafe having a nice latte with a cinnamon bun. If you guys have seen my Instagram, you'll see the picture of my setup. I'm just in the middle of the airport doing this, so it's kind of fun to do this in a live place. How are you guys doing? It is, I'm out of Malaysia officially. I arrived this morning. It's about, it's like 6 in the morning, and I hope you guys are just having a fabulous day. It's Friday. It's the 27th. And we're at the end of the week. I hope you guys are ready to enjoy another weekend. So let's just have some fun. Let's relax, have some realizations. We'll get a new direction this Sunday, so let's get things kicked off here together on the Morning Star Drive. So keep liking and commenting. I want to hear from you guys and see how you're doing. So post your song requests, questions, stories too. Would love to hear everything. Yes, today, for those of us in Asia, Espresso with Sky, new video has come out, and it's about 3 reasons why there shouldn't be Christian haters. And the only reason I'm doing this is because now that my channel is more spiritual, I had last week's video about the mark of the beast, and it's quite interesting because I'm getting some crazy response. I'm getting even more. If I waited, I could have made this video a little bit earlier, but it's quite funny. I have people like in my comments telling me that I have to, it's like, don't take the jab, I'm warning you. And I'm like, what does that mean, right? So like they're saying other different things like, in the end, you either die with a vaccination or you don't. And he's basically saying that if you have a vaccination, you're like going to go to hell or something like that. So I'm just like, yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, I got my kind of comments to those Christian haters out there. And also, guys, remember this Sunday we're going to meet another member from Singapore. It's going to be Ju Chun Sung, and he used to be the head leader there. He has a crazy story, so you got to hear this one. This one's really, really inspiring. Someone running hard for this history, and someone who literally put their life on the line, like literally. So you guys are going to enjoy that one. I hope you guys are really enjoying these Sunday edition interviews, just getting to meet each other in an intimate way and see what different members have gone through in their lives. And, a lot of people are receiving tons of grace from it too. So just want to let you guys know also that Patreon too has some new videos every week exclusively on Patreon, like for instance, the Monday Zoom Bible studies, word studies, and stuff like that too, okay? So let's get into today's featured artist of the day on this relaxing Friday. First song we're going to listen to is from Dia Wings from Korea. There's that girl, we could say Providence K-pop group, right? And this song is called More and More. That's their latest single. Then we have Man and Groom from the Paper Music Association in Korea with Cold Summer. And then last but not least, we have Mariah Henry from America with Lost Ones, all right? So let's spend this time giving glory, honor, and praise by listening to these amazing artists who are giving it through just this amazing work that they're doing, creating this music through the word, all right? So let's welcome our member artists from around the world.
알지 못해 툭 치고 간 어떤 한마디에 내게 남아질 리가 시크하게 툭 터져 그분 It never affects me, 그 어떤 것도 날 멈추진 못해 내 쉬는 숨이 내 움직임이 내 가진 걸 내뿜어내 또 담대하게 또 풍부하게 인생의 파도에 부딪혀도 돼 내 사랑도 내 자유도 다 내가 선택해 of course 선 넘은 참견은 거절해 no more 괜찮아 할 수 있어 babe 언제나 시작은 미약해 갈수록 완전해진 me 우리가 바라볼 vision이야 더 긴장을 늦추지 마 좀 느린 건 괜찮아 앞을 shine more and more. You're gonna shine more and more. Gonna shine more and more. So I'm moving on, cause I'm breathing. 지난 날 걸어왔던 수많은 날들이 날 꿈꾸게 만들어줘, 더 빛나게 만들어줘, 사라지지 않을 사연이 되어줘. 되게 도망가지 도망했다고 자책해 다시 그만. 너도 그 마음 가져가 그만. 하지만 거스트 나쁜 밤 왜 너를 집착해. 난 너를 기특해. 끝은 여기가 아니까 자꾸만 깨고. 괜찮아 할 수 있어 babe. 언제나 시작은 미약해. 갈수록 완전해진 me. 우리가 바라볼 비전이야. 더 긴장을 늦추지 마. 좀 느린 건 괜찮아. 앞을 봐 도전을 멈추지 마. Because you're gonna shine more and more. Because you're gonna shine more and more. 불어오는 바람 따라 유유히 흘러가. 그러다 보면 어느새 끝은 나오겠지. 끝은 하나의 전환일 뿐. 새로운 시작을 기대해. You're gonna shine more and more. Gonna shine more and more.
여름철만 다가오면 기대되는 휴가. 여름철만 다가오면 짜증나는 더위. 끈적끈적한 여름엔 필요해 차가운 아이스크림 같은 한여름밤의 꿈. 빨리 안 먹으면 녹아서 끈적끈적해져 like hot summer with mosquito. 뜨거운 여름만 다가오면 싫지만 괜스레 두근대는 이 기분은 뭘까. 요즘 비가 오면 듣는 빗소리가 좋아. 요즘 짝을 찾는 매미 소리도 좋아. 시끄러운 매미 소리 밑에 가려진 매미들의 숨가쁜 사랑 노래. 괜스레 얼굴이 빨개져 뜨거운 태양처럼 이젠 기대돼 다가올 여름이.
여름밤은 너무 더워 우릴 살려줘. 열대야가 우릴 삼켜서 we will go. 집에서 에어컨은 냉방병 걸려. 갈 사람 저요 갈 사람 너요. 여름밤은 너무 더워 우릴 살려줘. 열대야가 우릴 삼켜서 we will go. 집에서 에어컨은 냉방병 걸려. 갈 사람 저요 갈 사람 너요.
연장만 끝에 조금 처해지는 한 summer day. 떠나볼까 젊은 날에 좋은 자리 있으면 좀 잡아도. 꽉 막힌 도로여도 오늘은 기분이 설레네. 계획은 딱히 없고 몇 시간 달린 후에 바닷가에 시원하게 발부터 담가 붙잡고 파도를 삼켜 또 모래성을 쌓아. 석양 아래 바다 완모래 알이 너무 예쁜걸. 어느새 더윈 잊었고 굳이 여자 없이 우리끼리도 즐겁네. 그래도 저기 걸어오는 너희는 너무나 예쁜 거. 아쉬움 뒤로 한 채 우리 내년에 기약하자고.
여름밤은 너무 더워 우릴 살려줘. 열대야가 우릴 삼켜서 we will go. 집에서 에어컨은 냉방병 걸려. 갈 사람 저요 갈 사람 너요 여름밤은 너무 더워 우릴 살려줘 열대야가 우릴 삼켜서 we will go 집에서 에어컨은 냉방병 걸려 갈 사람 저요 갈 사람 너요
Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. We stay looking for someone to hold when the right one's standing at your door. Open up your heart and say, I'll believe in what you say, and I promise you will gain much more. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. 10 years of struggle, 10 years of pain, but I'll finally get to see you no more. Just calling your name, and the ones who wonder who, just open up your eyes. He's waiting for you too. He's not a man in disguise. And the hardest cross to bear, but your heart's not what I'll wear. To think this effort and this love could overcome the dirty stairs, and it's all because of you. Yeah, it's all because of you. Said it's all because of you. Yeah, I need you. Looking for someone to hold when the right one's standing at your door. Open up your heart and say, I believe in what you say, and I promise you will gain much more. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one.
And there you go. That was Mariah Henry from America with Lost Ones. Before that, Man and Groom from the Paper Music Associates in Korea with Cold Summer. And of course, Dial Wings, our feature artist of the day with More and More. So yes, just to remind everyone, I am in the Dubai International Airport, so it's not quite as quiet as I'd like it, but it's quite interesting that I'm in another country doing this podcast, which is really nice that I can do this portable and mobile. So let's get into today's news of the week. So what's going on? We'll start with coronavirus updates. In the world, there's 214.6 million cases with 4.47 million deaths, and the mortality rate has dropped to 2.08%. Top 5 countries going by daily death rates and daily infection rates. We have the U.S. on top, and they've already hit 171,000 cases in a day, and yes, number 1 in the world with 1,287 deaths in a single day. India, 46,000 cases, 608 deaths. Iran, 39,000 cases, 655 deaths in a day. The UK, 35,000 cases, 149 deaths. And then we have Brazil with 30,000 cases with 901 deaths. Now, over in Southeast Asia, this will be the last week I will be using Southeast Asia. I'll be reporting Southeast Asia. I'll be going over to the Western countries. So in Indonesia, we have 18. Number 1 is Malaysia, actually. Malaysia has 22,000 cases, 265 deaths. And then you have Thailand with 18,000 cases, 297 deaths. And then you see the contrast because Indonesia has 18,000 cases and over 1,000 deaths, right? So it's pretty bad. Like they're even worse than they're like almost half of Brazil's infections, and they have like over 100 more cases. So it's pretty crazy. So let's get into the top 3 news for today. We're going to start off with Afghanistan. Now, Afghanistan, of course, it's like the top news around the world. And we have the US and UK are now issuing Kabul airport warnings. So this is crazy. The US and UK have warned its citizens to move away from the Kabul airport and avoid traveling there due to security threats. Both countries issued alerts late on Wednesday as thousands of people are still waiting inside and outside the airport waiting to fly out. More than 82,000 people have been airlifted from Kabul, which fell to the Taliban 10 days ago. Now, countries are rushing to evacuate people by a August 31st deadline, and the Taliban have opposed extending the deadline, but also promised to allow foreigners and Afghans to leave the country after the August 31st deadline, and that's according to the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Now, in an alert on Wednesday, the U.S. State Department told those waiting at the Abbey Gate, East Gate, or North Gate to leave immediately. And earlier, the U.K. issued similar advice asking people there to move away to a safe location and await further advice. The Foreign Office said that the security situation in Afghanistan remains volatile, adding that there was an ongoing and high threat of a terrorist attack. So neither the U.S. or U.K. gave any information on the security threat. And in a speech on Tuesday, the U.S. President Joe Biden said the U.S.-controlled airlift would have to come to an end soon because of an increasing threat from the Islamic State group in Afghanistan. So about 19,000 people have been evacuated on U.S. organized flights in the past 24 hours. Mr. Blinken said this on Wednesday, with airlifts stepped up in recent days amid scenes of chaos. He said that the U.S. was still on track to complete operations at Kabul airport by the end of the month, and up to 1,500 U.S. nationals could still be in the country, and the administration was making exhaustive efforts to trace them, the Secretary of State said. So the CIA and the U.S. military have been carrying out clandestine operations to extract Americans using helicopters and ground troops. U.S. and other officials have told the Wall Street Journal the perilous operations have been both inside and outside of Kabul. The Pentagon has said 10,000 people are still waiting to be evacuated from the Kabul airport by U.S. aircraft, and there are fears for thousands more Afghans who are desperate to leave but cannot reach the site. So, BBC correspondents say many of those being turned back by the Taliban at the airport gates appear to have travel papers. And Joe Biden tweeted that the U.S. would do everything to provide safe evacuation. The U.K. said its evacuation operation was moving at a significant pace, with some 1,200 people flown out on Wednesday. And Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab said his government would use every hour and day that we've got left to fly British nationals and eligible Afghans out. And Kabul airport is currently being defended by 5,800 U.S. and 1,000 British troops. Now, second, this is kind of scary. This is in China, and basically they have something called Xi Jinping thought, and it's now being introduced into the curriculum for schools in China. Okay, the curriculum is literally called Xi Jinping thought. Okay, so China will introduce a political ideology of the Chinese president in its national curriculum. It's called literally Xi Jinping thought, and will help teenagers establish Marxist beliefs, right? So it basically says that the ideology will be integrated from primary school up to university, and this is the latest effort by Mr. Xi, the president, to consolidate the ruling Chinese Communist Party's role in different areas of society. So in a statement, the Ministry of Education said it aimed to cultivate the builders and successors of socialism with an all-round moral, intellectual, physical, and aesthetic grounding. The guidelines include labor education to cultivate their hardworking spirit, and education on national security. In 2018, actually, China's top body actually enshrined Xi Jinping thought into the constitution, and since then it's been introduced across some universities and amongst political youth wings holding extracurricular activities in schools. So the new guidelines, however, will see a much more extensive rollout. From primary schools, they'll focus on cultivating love for the country and the Communist Party of China and socialism. In middle schools, the focus will be on the combination of perceptual experience and knowledge study to help students from basic political judgments and opinions. This is what the state media outlet Global Times reported. And in college, there will be more emphasis on the establishment of theoretical thinking The ministry is also working on including themes such as party leadership and national defense education into the curriculum. So it's pretty nuts, guys, to see that this is happening, that Xi Jinping is literally treated like a god over there. So that's something that I hope God will do something about, because this guy's putting himself into God's position. So we can only pray, right, more than anything else. And last but not least, we're going to head over to Latin America, to Venezuela. There's landslides in Venezuela right now, as 15 were killed because of heavy rains, right? So 15 are confirmed to have died in landslides in Venezuela's western Merida state. Streets and mountain villages were converted into raging torrents after torrential rains hit the area in the Andes. Now, footage taken by locals showed cars being swept away and boulders strewn over muddy roads. Most of the fatalities occurred in the town of Tovar, where there's a river that burst and its banks, basically the river banks burst after hours of rainfall. And officials also said that the electricity plant in Tovar had been damaged, and that residents had neither power nor telephone connections. So it's not the first time that this valley has been hit by deadly mudslides, because in 2005 more than 40 people died and dozens went missing in the area when several rivers overflowed. So that is what's happening in Venezuela. I hope you guys, that's the top 3 news for today. I hope it's something that can kind of open your mind what is going on around the world. And yes, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking there is a lot of rain, floods, earthquakes, fires. I'm talking to people, just even non-Christians or non-believers, and they're all talking about the end times happening right now. So it is pretty incredible. All right, so let's move on to sports news. We'll start off with the NFL. In the NFL, looks like we get the starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. He's a number 1 pick in the NFL draft, and he was announced by Coach Urban Meyer that he will be the starting quarterback. In other news, the New England Patriots traded Sony Michel to the LA Rams for a 4th-round pick, and LA Rams were looking for running back because Cam Akers, their starting running back, suffered a season-ending Achilles injury before the start of training camp. So the Rams thought that their offense was going to be slowed down with their new quarterback Matthew Stafford, but now that they've acquired Sony Michel, they are in a good position to win a lot of games. In the NBA, guess what? The new power rankings came out on ESPN, and of course on top we have the Brooklyn Nets, then the Milwaukee Bucks, the LA Lakers, the Phoenix Suns, and then the Utah Jazz. And last but not least, we got some news in soccer. Tottenham Hotspur's Harry Kane, the leading scorer in the EPL last year, he did not get traded to Man City, and so he commits his immediate future to Tottenham. We don't know what's going to happen because the final date is going to be August 31st, so we'll see. And last but not least, Kylian Mbappe. Yes, he wants to leave PSG amid Real Madrid's interests, and of course, it is Leonardo, whom I met and took a picture with, but Leonardo is a sporting director for PSG, and he said that, yes, Kylian Mbappe wants to leave the club. He's only 22 years old. He was offered like $188 million as a transfer fee from Real Madrid, but it was rejected. So we'll see what happens before the transfer window closes on August 31st. All right, so that's the end of the world news and sporting news. So let's get into the golden time. So we're going to spend some time giving praise, honor, and glory to the Holy Trinity. So we're going to start off with eternally thankful, because we should be, and then let's make God and the Holy Spirit rejoice, and then we'll break things down with heard in God's ears. So as one body of the Morning Star Drive, let's spend this time giving praise, honor, and glory to the Holy Trinity.
God above, I truly see you're always close to me, leading me with inspiration, and you intervene for me. I know I'm safe within your hands. You protected me from death. Now you are the reason that I live my life. Thank you eternally. Thank you for everything. Holy Trinity. me back to life. Evermore, you've set me free from eternal suffering. I am truly thankful for the love you've shown. Thank you eternally. Thank you for everything. Oh my Lord, you saved my spirit and my soul. Now singing joyfully, I'll praise you gloriously, 'cause I'm truly thankful for your love, oh Lord. They have raised my spirit high and adored me as their bride. Brought me to the golden city, to the wedding held inside. Glory to the Trinity. They fulfill creation's will, and I thank the Savior for He raptured me. Thank you eternally. Thank you for everything. Holy Trinity, you raptured me to you. Now singing joyfully, I'll praise you gloriously. I will surely rapture higher every day. Thank you eternally. Thank you for everything. Holy Trinity, you raptured me to you. Now singing joyfully, I'll praise you gloriously. I will surely rapture higher every day. I will surely rapture higher every day. I will surely rapture higher every day. Without the Spirit and Holy Son, we're strengthened 'cause we love the Trinity. We're joyful. Love overflows, never ending. Our hearts are inspired. Dun, 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 dun. Without the Spirit and Holy Son, we're strengthened 'cause we love the Trinity. We're joyful. Love overflows, never ending. Our hearts are inspired. Dun, 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 dun. Everyone clap all together. Everyone sing. Everyone get on your feet and dance. God and the Holy Spirit will surely rejoice. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Everyone clap all together. Everyone sing. Everyone get on your feet and dance. God and the Holy Spirit will surely rejoice. we hear the word of God, when we realize and take action, all our deeds become words heard in God's ears. He receives our actions, all the things we've done, all the words the Savior speaks, they are secrets from above. I will value every word and act to make them mine. My God, I know the value with every action I take. I'll proclaim the words I love you to the Trinity. Hear the confession of my deeds. I will act upon your word. Please receive my earnest heart, O Trinity. Through the world God created, through the things we go through in our lives, we receive inspiration from heaven. God sends us the Spirit and strength so we can run. All the words the Savior speaks, they are secrets from above. I will value every word and act to make them mine. My God, I know the value with every action I take. I'll proclaim the words I love you to the Trinity. Hear the confession of my deeds. I will act upon your word. Please receive my earnest heart, O Trinity. My God, I know the value with every action I take. I'll proclaim the words I love you to the Trinity. Hear the confession of my deeds. I will act upon your word. Please receive my earnest heart, O Trinity. Oh God, receive my love. May my actions be the words that reach your ears.
And there it is. That is heard in God's ears. Before that, let's make God and the Holy Spirit rejoice. And of course, that first song, Eternally Thankful, just to get that blood pumping. All right, guys, so let's get into today's word study for today. And of course, we're going to go over the Wednesday message. And the Wednesday message, of course, a lot of us were really, for me, it was really deep, really good, and but on top of it, I was getting ready to leave that night too. So my mind was like very like, wow, I wonder if I'm going to get a message from God before I leave, and basically kept saying do it at the right time. So I was like, okay, so I need to get to the airport a little bit earlier, something along that line. So let's take a look at this message. If you do it at the right time, you will succeed. And that's kind of one of the big things that Sensei talked about, is about success. And he said that how will you be successful in life? And of course, everything's about doing things at the right time. So what does it mean to do it at the right time? Well, the time is decided by God, right? So the time, time is decided by God. Time is time, right? So everything comes together at the right time, right? There's this, it's kind of like you put it like all roads lead to this one point. And if you can do it when all the roads get to that one point, then it'll work out. You know what I mean? It's like the Goldilocks conditions. Like everything has to be perfect in order for life to begin in the universe. And in the same way too, we have to realize that all of our issues and problems, how amazing they are. It's amazing when they get solved because there has to be this Goldilocks condition for everything to work out so that that problem can be resolved. And if you think about it this way, it's pretty incredible, right? That you have to do it at the right time. It's decided by God. Everything comes together at this one juncture in time, and that's when we need to do it in order for us to be successful. And when I was thinking about this, it's like, wow, there's so many things that have to come together, but we don't realize it. We kind of just do it when we're inspired, or we do it when we think it's the right time. And when it works out, we're just like, oh, cool, it worked out. But in reality, it's such a big thing that I think we need to realize that it's not something small. It's an actual really big thing that we have to be thankful to God whenever something is resolved, because everything worked out at that one moment. I like that one point when Sunseep said that, the book of Ezekiel, basically the reason why God gave the Valley of the Dry Bones that gift to them, or that vision to Ezekiel to tell the people. Well, if we know, we talked about this on Tuesday, is that Ezekiel was there at the Babylonian captivity. However, his message changed from before captivity and after, right? So before, it was a message of judgment. The people were bad and wicked. But the interesting thing is, after they were taken to Babylon, what happens is his message changed to hope, and then God will restore them. And basically what God looked at Israel and he saw them having no hope at all. So he changed the message. And, God was basically showing them what their spiritual condition was, that they were like a valley of bone dry, right? And Ezekiel was told to deliver this message to the bones, right? So he's saying that's Israel right now. Deliver this message and they'll become a big army that will take action. And once you deliver this, once you deliver this message, then Israel comes back together with hope, right? So it's really, really kind of like, I really look at it as kind of like what Providence was like too, because it's the resurrection time after 3.5 years, and this is the message that comes at the resurrection time. So I think it's great, and I think it's amazing, right? So this message moved on to not being so self-conscious, and we have to do it boldly at the time we're supposed to do it. And if you're too self-conscious, then you can't even control yourself properly. And that's the interesting thing is, it's so true. When you're too self-conscious, you second-guess yourself and doubt constantly. Isn't that true? Yeah, the moment you become too conscious, you won't do what you normally do. And I realize it's totally like sports. Because when you're in practice, you're not conscious of the people watching. You're not conscious of all those things that are happening around you. But when you get into a game, there's thousands of fans, or sometimes only tens or dozens, right? Or you have this like, oh no, what if I miss? Or what if this happens? Or what if that happens, right? So what we need to think about is like, wait, this is something we have to realize in ourselves too, is some things we might, like, I'll give you the honest, like, what I was thinking too is, like, even head leading. There's a difference between, like, my thinking when I'm not a head leader and when I am a head leader. Because all of a sudden this pressure comes in, you feel super self-conscious, there's so many people watching you, so many people looking at you to see all your mistakes, and that's what we think they're looking at, and it's really, really interesting, right? Because I would say even head leading is very, very similar. The way you're much more reasonable before, like when you're not head leading. But when you become a head leader, well, I'm not going to say all people, but a lot of people will become very self-conscious to it because a ton of people are watching them, right? So something even said that self-conscious means to doubt, right? It means to doubt. So, you could be doubting yourself, doubting God. So, sorry, my nose is running a bit. It's because I just got off a plane and my sinuses always act up when I'm up in the air. But God told us not to be self-conscious, right? He told us, do it boldly, do it the right time. So, I hope it's something that we can really, really get our hearts and our minds to think about even more deeply. Yeah, because we all get self-conscious at some point, sometimes, especially when we're in front of Sunseed, we get super self-conscious for some reason. Yeah. So I think one of the big things that God said is the level of our thinking is so low, right? It is so low that we cannot know what to do, what the timing is, what God's will is. But once you become the counterpart, then you're going to know the will because you're united with God more than anything else. So I hope that we will be those that are not kind of just searching for God's will by ourselves, but we'll be those that are really going to, more than anything else, become the counterpart of God. And if we think about it, guys, we are the counterpart. So someone might say, well, how do we know what the will is? And the answer is, we get the will every single week, telling us exactly what to do every single week. We literally get the will because we are the counterparts of God, right? We get the will. Isn't that crazy? So when you think about it, yeah, because we are the counterparts, we come to services, we listen to the word, we know the will every week 4 times. We keep getting, don't be self-conscious, be bold, don't be self-conscious, right? He's telling us everything. He's telling us the will for this week. Where everyone else is wondering what's the will of their life in general, we're getting the I don't know what word to use, but it's so incredible. It's like we're getting the freaking will like every 2 days. Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. It's literally every 2 days, which I think is just incredible. So I hope that we can be those that can just take action on the words. And remember what Sanseep said? Sanseep said his eyes are drawn to those who take action, which is like, wow, yeah, that's where he's looking, to those that are actually taking action. So I think that's something that we should look at too, is if we act boldly without being self-conscious, then things will work out. But also, Sunseep's eyes will be drawn to you. And if Sunseep's eyes are drawn to you, then God's eyes are drawn to you also. Yeah. So, this part of the message I liked also when he said that, problems always happen in life, but also solutions for those problems also happen too, right? So he says, you got to think about it. It's just like a hunter that, if there's a hunter, then as soon as they see the animal, they point the gun and they have to shoot. They have to take the gun out right away. In the same way, too, when the time comes for your problem to be resolved, what do you have to do? You have to resolve that problem right away, as soon as you see that animal, right? Or else, if you wait too long, the animal runs away. So I hope that we, too, can understand those problems that are happening out, but the solutions to those problems are happening all the time also. And some seems like saying, guys, we have opportunities every single day. People in Providence have an opportunity every day. So I'm like, wow. People in Providence, we have an opportunity every single day, which is incredible, right? So I was like, wow, we do have opportunities every day. God is giving us the time. God is giving us opportunities all the time. Oh, what about this part? This part was really good too. He says, what did he say? If you don't use that time for yourself, then Satan will use that time. So you don't use it, then that time moves to the opponent's side, right? And if you look at sports too, it makes the same thing. You have the soccer ball and you don't take the ball, then the opponent takes it away from you. God is giving us the ball, right? And if he gives us the ball, then we have to be the ones that take that opportunity more than anything else. Because once that time is finished, then Satan gets the ball, right? And then it becomes a struggle. Then we're dragged around by them. So in the end, it's like, if you lose the time, you're dragged around by Satan. And if you win, you drag Satan around. And that, and that's like, okay, that's, who doesn't want to drag Satan around, right? Just drag him all over the mud and all over the ground, making sure he feels every pebble and rock that you run over, right? So this is the method to success. The secret is to do things at the right time. And, it's something that I do think that the one part I think that I thought that I was weak in too is when he said that, leaders came and they should be able to do things properly, especially about Wolmyeongdo, right? But, if you don't know it properly, then God will stop you and find someone else. So he's going to call another person to teach it instead. So we have to learn a lot and teach it. If you want to, God is unseen. So if you learn about the natural temple, then you're learning about God. Sunsteam, we might not know Sunsteam well, but if you know the Wolmyeongdo well, you can know Sunsteam well too. So we need to learn a lot about the temple, and then we can learn a lot about Sunsteam too. So this is something that kind of, it motivates you, like, yeah, don't you want to know God, and don't you want to know Sunsteam also? And we have to know it that much in detail. So yeah, that's something like, wow, it's something that we should be able to learn. Maybe this should, and I also thought this should be something that we should have as a curriculum for leaders too, about knowing about what we're doing. I think that would be great if there was a curriculum for that also. So, what about when Sunseem said that time, what did he say? He said that God, the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Son take action at the right time, and they always keep it. Right? So he says, even when it was creating heaven and earth, there was a right time to create it, right? And that reminded me of what Sunseem said like decades ago. He said that the reason why there are other planets out in the world that have water and everything else, because God was testing and trying out how to make the earth. That's why there's so many places that have like just partial conditions to what the earth is like, but there's only one place that gives life with it, which is the earth. So it had to be done at the right time with the right, environment and settings, right? So that was, I thought that, wow, so God is never late a single second. So he's like, if you believe in that same God, then why aren't you keeping the time, right? If you are united with them, then and why would you miss the time? Then it becomes an issue, right? So big problems happen if the head doesn't do it the right time. Because if the head doesn't do it the right time, then everyone below suffers too. So God never misses a time, or else we would all suffer, right? At least if God does it on time, the difference would be is we all have a chance to catch the time. And then only like a few people who miss the time will suffer. But as long as God does it on time, then everyone has a chance. But if you don't, then you don't have a chance, right? So, yeah, I thought that was something that would help, especially for leaders to think about this too. Yeah. Let's see, what else is there? There's a lot of stuff from this message, but there's a couple of points that I was thinking about a lot, especially talking about it with you guys today. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so, Sunseem talked about the secret of success, of course, is to doing things on the right time. However, the one thing that's very interesting is when he talks about, but the core to us being successful is the mentality and the thoughts and your mind. And everything is dependent upon these things, the mentality, the thoughts, the mind, the way you think. All these things become the number one thing that matters to us, right? Because it's through your mentality that pushes you to do things to the end, that even though it's difficult, because it's the right time, you can still push forward, right? So I hope that, we can, more than anything else, through the words, through prayer, we'll be able to do things to change and strengthen the mentality first, because that's the thing that moves us to the next level, right? So I really, really hope that all of us here too can strengthen our hearts and our minds through the pre-dawn. You strengthen your mentality by getting up when you don't want to. You strengthen your mentality by going through the difficult times because you know that this is something you have to do until the end, right? People lose opportunities every single day, right? And that's why we have to treat every opportunity valuably, because for people of providence, like I said, like Sunseem said before, the opportunity comes every day, especially for people in providence, especially. Right? So, and then he said this one thing that we have to realize deeply is right now is important. Right? We have to realize this deeply. So the example he gave is right now is important because we're listening to the words of God. But he's talking about right now, which was on the Wednesday message, that Wednesday night. At that moment, it was that important. He said right now is important. But this is a philosophy, which means, I was thinking to myself, what does that mean? Right now is important, which means that you have to know what is happening right now in front of you, what opportunity you have right now. When you're listening to this podcast, when you're at work, when you're at school, when you're studying, there is a right now that we're missing at that moment, where instead, what do? Instead, we go to, we watch Netflix. Instead, we go to just watching TV. Instead, we just surf the internet, right? But he says you have to realize the philosophy of right now is important. And we have to realize this really deeply, right? Because it's time to meet the Lord and meet with God. So that means that every time, the realization of right now is important has to become that big in your heart and your mind, right? So I think that, like, wow, that could be really, really deep if we understand that to that level, right? So, we need to know properly. We have to know when the time is. right? So, and of course, we talked about this on Tuesday for the Tuesday pre-dawn message. Sunsim also said, the biggest time is the one we've met is meeting the Lord of this time period, right? So we need to grab the opportunity. And when we grab the opportunity, Sunsim said, it refreshes God's heart, right? So right now, all of us are living in this world, so we have to fulfill it. I know sometimes we've gone through some headaches. Sometimes we've gone through some heartache. Sometimes we've gone through some trauma. But we're living here. We're not going to live here again. And we have to use this time to fulfill whatever we need, whatever God needs to fulfill at this time. So, back in the days of Jesus, if you followed him, things worked out well, right? So today, what Sunsim's saying, it's going to work out well today because we're following the Lord, right? Don't end up in the end grinding your teeth and being gnashing your teeth and being regretful, right? Just like the people who left, or just like the people who should have done something but didn't do anything and just went off to work instead. Now, when I mean not went off to work, doesn't mean a career department, which means they just go to work and they don't care about Providence anymore, right? So I hope that all of us too can calculate really well and understand how well we have to talk, how well we have to understand each other too. Wow, yeah, this message was there's so much in it. There's so much. Did you guys hear that spoon drop on the ground? Yeah, I'm in a cafe right now, and it's really noisy behind me, but I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. Oh man, what about when Sun Tzu talked about someone calling him skinny? Like, if you really thought about it, right? If you really thought about it, like think about it deeply. At first, your thoughts are, wait a second, but if Sunsim was skinny, wouldn't you kind of comment and say, oh, Sunsim, are you okay? It's so pitiful. And you'd be like going, oh yeah, you would understand them saying that. But then he said, would you say that to a king? Right? That's the end. That's the thing. Because I'll tell you something, because when I was in Korea, it's very interesting, is Koreans, they'll comment on everything. Like if you're fat, if you're skinny, whatever, they'll say everything. Oh, are you okay? And for me, as a Western, I was like, oh, I can't stand when they do that. But can you imagine that, like saying it to a king? In the past, if people said those types of things to a king, they would die, right? And then what does Sun Tzu say? This is not me being sick or me being pitiful. This is what the Holy Spirit told me to do, to lose weight so I can fly around. Right? If the Holy Spirit told me to do this, why would you look at me and say it's pitiful? And then he said it's people in their 40s and 50s that say these things. I'm like, ugh, that's my generation, right? So yeah, that was something I was like, yeah, that's so true. The way we can't just talk to something like we talk to a friend. Hey, you lost some weight. Oh, hey, this. Oh, no, there's no way we can do that, right? We have to catch the opportunity and then do it with all of our heart, day and night. Right? We have to check properly, think constantly before meeting God, right? Because if we don't, then it becomes a loss for us. God is going to pay us according to what we've done. And what if we upset the Lord? That's a big thing, right? So I really hope it's something that we can understand at that level also. So, we all have to be those that kind of follow the Lord, run like the Lord, right? And look at the ways Sun Tzu treats God and the Holy Spirit. That's the way we have to understand how we have to treat the visible God. Like literally, he's not literally God, but he's the one that God sends. He's the visible God in the symbolic sense, right? So, yeah, incredible. Just a lot of stuff just deep stuff to think about philosophically too. That's so true, right? So, I hope that as we heard the message, and the message has been proclaimed, that we will be successful by taking things in the right time, and that we will do, Providence itself, your churches, your departments, yourself have to do things at the right time, or else we fail. So discern. This is a point I really, really loved. He says, what time is it now? What kind of time is it now? And then we're expecting him to say, it's a time of the Lord. It's, the complete testament. He said, no. He said, discern by using the message. And I love that. It's not just the message says this, so do this in every part of your life. He says, no. Now you have the message. Now you can discern through the message. Figure out what time it is right now when it comes to business, using this week's message. Comes to work, comes to school, personal things, using this week's message. So that's how we fulfill God's will, right? We have to do it at the right time to be successful, and we discern according to that week's message. So I thought that was a perfect way to end the message. Either way, that is that is the word study for today. Hope you guys really enjoyed that over here in the Dubai International Airport. So that means we're going to go into the song of choice for today. And today is Musical Friday, so I want you guys to pray for me because I have one more, I'll be still flying another, flying again for another 16 hours, heading to San Francisco. I'm going to use this. This movie is not a musical, but there's a song. It turns into a musical, just like this one song in the middle of it. It's so good. It's from My Best Friend's Wedding. Most of you guys will have never seen this movie. It's an old movie, but just in the middle, out of nowhere, eating dinner. It's hilarious, and it is this made everyone start to sing this song. But this song is called "Say a Little Prayer for You." Say a little prayer, right? And I want you guys to say a prayer for me, but listen to this. These are not professional singers. It's just hilarious. And get the link in the description because the link in the description is going to be, whatchamacallit? The link in the description is going to be the scene from the movie. It's so funny, okay? But, and if you guys want to watch a funny movie, I recommend that movie, My Best Friend's Wedding, right? So from My Best Friend's Wedding, all amateur singers, and this song is Say a Little Prayer for You.
Could this siren love me? Are the gods that kind? And Dion turned to me, opened her lovely eyes and said,
What did she say?
The moment I wake up, before I put on my makeup,
I'll say a little prayer for you.
while combing my hair now, while wondering what dress to wear now.
I say a little prayer for you.
Forever and ever, you stay in my heart, and I will love you forever and ever. You never will part. Oh, how I love you together forever. That's how it must be to live without you. Would only be heartbreak for me. I run for the bus, dear. While riding, I think of us, dear.
I'll say a little prayer for you.
At work, I just take time, and all through my coffee break time, I say a little prayer for you. Forever and ever, you stay in my heart, and I will love you forever and ever. We never were part. Oh, how I love you together forever. That's how it must be to live without you. Would only mean heartbreak for me. My darling, believe me, for me there is no one but you. Please love me too.
Answer his prayer.
And I'm in love with you.
Answer his prayer now, baby.
And answer my prayer, baby.
Answer his prayer.
Say you love me too. Stay in my heart, and I will love you forever and ever. We never were part. Oh, how I love you together forever. That's how it must be to live without you. Would only mean heartbreak for me.
And there it is. That is My Best Friend's Wedding. Say a Little Prayer for You. I Say a Little Prayer for You. Great song. You guys got to watch the movie for this one. It's really good. But I will put the link into the description of the part in the movie that you'll see. That gives me tons of memories from my high school days. Yes, from my high school, which means that is from 1992 to 1996. As crazy as that sounds. All right, so man, that means like it's over 25. Is it 25 years? Because I graduated in 96. It's been 25 years since I graduated high school. Okay, forget that, guys. I'm in a bad zone right now. I'm feeling my age. Okay, so we're gonna get into the last section for today and for the entire week. This is going to be Victory Rhymes with Youngse. I hope you guys are really, really enjoying this segment. She's putting in a lot of good work. She's already gone into like 42 episodes. You guys. Also, just make sure that if you have any poems, anything you want to recommend, it could be poems from any, whichever poems that you saw in a book, poems that you saw from from Sunsteam or from yourself or your friends in this history, go ahead and just put that into the email, which is going to be in the description below. All right, so everyone please welcome Victory Rhymes with Youngse.
What's up everyone, and welcome to this week's segment of Victory Rhymes here on the Morning Star Drive with me, Youngse. Yeah, and this is where I bring the poetry to you guys from all over the world, written by the amazing people of this history, so that we can experience a glimpse of each other's lives through the poems. And today is one of those special days where I share Sangsteam's poem. And today I'm gonna share one of the poems that Sangsteam wrote, and that is in the book of the Vietnam War. The book's title is War Was Cruel, Love and Peace. And it's so amazing to have this book in English. It's a treasure really. You can buy it on Amazon. There's a color version and a black and white version. Color version was so worth it because there's a lot of pictures in here. There are a lot of pictures in here. You would say I'm not an English teacher, but yeah, so this book was so great to read. It was just so amazing, and Sangsteam's writing was so great that you can have this vivid images of what it was like in war, and then you even have these pictures and poems. So it's really like this ride of Shimjong. You can really experience a lot through reading this book. And one of the things that I cannot even put into words is the love. It's the genuine love for God that you can definitely not deny when you read this book. The genuine love for God Sangsteam has, and the love for lives that he had even on the battlefield, where killing is just happening all the time, just around you, and how he even saved the enemy. It was such an incredible book to read. And then recently, but yeah, even reading a book, you can't really know what it was like. So one step closer is a movie, right? And then I watched this movie Hacksaw Ridge. I don't know if you guys have seen it. What an insane movie. I watched it the first time, and I remember watching it with a few members, and we all just cried because it was so good. And it is Hacksaw Ridge is about this Christian young man who he enlists for war and against the Japanese, and then he's a Seventh-day Adventist, and he refuses to touch a gun. He made a promise to God in his past that he will not touch a gun, he will not shoot. And then there's this whole drama. He gets a lot of persecution. Everyone hates it that he's like that. He's a lot of pressure, and he just really stands firm in his beliefs that he does not want to shoot anyone. And there's this beautiful line where he's taken to the military court, and then he says that the world is falling apart, and it doesn't seem like such a bad idea to put a little bit of it back together. And it's when he says that he doesn't want to shoot, he just wants to be a medic in the war. And it's so amazing, and I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but in the end this guy turns out to be a hero, a really amazing hero. And so this movie made by Mel Gibson is just so great, and it really is so moving, and you can really understand a little bit more of what Sangsteam must have went through, and even just 1% of what he must have gone through. And there's this beautiful line also in this movie where this guy, okay, I really don't want to spoil it for you guys, but should I say it? Should I not? There's this line where he's he saves people, and then he says Lord, help me save one more. And then you just want to bowl your eyes. It is just so amazing. This movie is so beautiful. But I have to warn you guys, it's not for families. Like, I would not recommend this as the family movie time. I wouldn't recommend any teens or kids watching this movie. It's intense. It's very graphic, and even I had to close my eyes a few times because it's really, really bloody and graphic, which gives you the like feeling of war. But yeah, it's quite a lot. It's quite intense, and there's like there's a little bit of a love theme in it. But yeah, it's just gore and blood. So then I would not recommend this to people who are sensitive to this kind of scenes, and to any teens or kids. So yeah, you are warned. But other than that, like, if you're okay with that, like, it's really an amazing movie. Yeah, and then this book also, yeah, I would really recommend checking it out on Amazon. I can't wait for the next one to come out, because you know this is a set of 4. So this is volume 1, and I can't wait for volume 2, 3, 4. Like, it's gonna be amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna read you the poem called Life Guarantee 1, and it's related to that, you know, that famous scene where Sang-sin is like in front of the enemy, and then the enemy has his gun pointed at Sang-sin. But then Sang-sin hears God's voice saying love, and Sang-sin drops his gun and goes over to that person and just hugs him. And these two just hug each other and cry. And on that battlefield where there's so much death and violence and hatred, peace was made. Like, it was this moment, just this moment between these two enemies, these two opponents, of love and peace, of harmony. And it's beautiful. And God really saved Sang-sin's life in that moment. And then Sang-sin is, of course, like talking about it a lot in the book, and so thankful. And then there's this one poem called Life Guarantee 1, and I am gonna read it, try my best to read it, do it some justice, even though it's impossible because there's so much weight in this poem, but I'm gonna try. When you meet the enemy, whoever shoots first can live. Love your enemy. Love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus' words come to my heart. I should love my enemy in order for me to live. I think about this, but there is no guarantee that the enemy will not shoot just because I do not shoot him. But I first put down my gun. My faith is only in God Almighty who saves me. I must obey his word. Ah, the enemy lives. I can live. I'm still alive because we both live. Even today, I testify for the one, and I love him. In the battle, I performed a miracle of not shooting the enemy, who was about to shoot me. God also performed a miracle so that the enemy would not shoot me. So that was a poem written by Sang-sin that is in the Vietnam War book. So really, really amazing, and it really inspires me a lot. For one, like, you can just feel so much of God's love through this, and as something that relates more to our lives, because we're not on the battlefield, we don't shoot people, like, hopefully not, like in our daily lives, but we have a different weapon. Like, we have our words, and words can really be like a weapon that kills as well. And it really makes me think, like, wow, if someone is pointing their gun at you, like someone is like saying something to you or about to say something to you, like they're getting angry or something, or they're upset, then what's the best thing to do? Is it better to shoot them back and just start a fight, break the harmony? Or can you be the one who puts down your gun and just hugs that person like Sang-sin did? Like, with your words, say something kind, acknowledge them or apologize to them, or just kind of help them to de-escalate instead of just firing up an argument. Even if they are wrong, what's the point? what's the point? Even if they are wrong, to start a fight and break the harmony. Because once there's a fight, once the harmony is broken, who's gonna care about who was right and who was wrong? But if you just make peace in that moment and just acknowledge that person's heart and let them, like, help them to calm down, and you make peace, then whatever was the problem you can discuss in a peaceful way and you can make harmony. Yeah, that's really inspiring to me. And that brings us to the end of today's Victory Rhyme segment. I hope you have a truly amazing day, and if you have any poems that you've written or any poem you like that you would like to recommend, then please send it to me to the email in the description box below. I hope you have an amazing day. This is Youngse. Goodbye.
And there you have it. That is Victory Rhymes with Youngse. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. I'm super grateful, thankful for all of her amazing work she's doing for the past 42 weeks. You guys, I'm glad that you guys are always joining us every single day. Super thankful for you guys for all your support. That means this is the last segment for this week. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Don't forget the new video on Espresso with Sky about Christian haters. And then Sunday, we have the Sunday edition with Johnson from Singapore. And then we'll see you guys again on Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. Before I even end it, just want to say this is a good shout out to Dubai International Airport. This might be my last time ever doing a podcast here, and then on Monday I'll be podcasting from San Francisco. All right, so everyone have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you guys again on Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with Sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly, so let's realign. Just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the